Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, NFL news and updates, including Adrian Peterson joining the Redskins, players react to the new helmet rule, and Doc and Prof will go ahead and review Hard Knocks up to season 3. Will Dez ever join a team? Maybe the Browns? We'll definitely discuss it. NBA news and more, including Manu Ginobili mulling retirement and so much more, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fine edition of Debate Amongst Friends. I am the mouth from the north, not from the south, but don't call me Jimmy Hart. I am the Professor John Guy. You know, it's by my side, my client, the reigning, defending, undisputed podcast king of them all, the beast incarnate, Doc Lesnar. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing well. The Professor John Gotti, the king of RNG, the troll master, the data analyzing ninja, the guy who can crunch data with his teeth.
Ninja Plez.
Ninja Plez. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Not too bad, man. I'm over here just relaxing. Beautiful day out here. Sun shining. I'm ready to debate. And always doing it with the OG himself, the beast.
Hey, it's raining here. It's been raining ridiculous in North Carolina. I mean, every single day is some different kind of rain, you know, like kind of like Forrest Gump rain, stinging rains, rain that comes sideways, rains that comes up from the ground.
Some that just come right back up to your face.
Exactly.
But, I mean, as we do with every single week, you know, we are always ready to neutralize some subjects.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, I mean, I know we have up first Adrian Peterson. I mean, some thought he wouldn't get another shot, but he's with the Redskins. What were your first initial thoughts when Adrian Peterson joined the Redskins?
Well, it was definitely his last chance. Him joining the Saints was just terrible.
Absolutely.
And I believe he ended up joining the Cardinals right afterwards.
Yes, he did. And
no one ever said his name after that. So this is definitely the tail end, the twilight towards his career. It's kind of like, and I watched this on a top 10 for the NFL Network when they talked about the top 10 worst free agent signings. And one of those free agent signings at number 10 was what is his name? Emmitt Smith.
What team? Emmitt Smith. Oh, when he went to the Cardinals?
And when he went to the Cardinals, like he was not the Emmitt Smith who broke the rushing record.
Oh no.
Like he was pale in comparison to his former self. Like this is the kind of situation I'm looking at this as, but this is towards someone who just he's trying to get that one last hurrah. And I hope he has a really good season. I mean, the Redskins is in a division right now that anyone could win it. It's any one game, minus the Eagles.
I agree. I think so. I could definitely understand Adrian Peterson. I wouldn't put Adrian Peterson with Emmitt Smith though. Emmitt Smith was probably running closer to a 5.5 by the time he got to the Cardinals.
No, he was
really
running like
terrible.
a 6.3.
I was trying to give him the benefit of the
doubt.
I think
no.
I was a big Emmitt fan.
Emmett just wanted his money. That's all he wanted.
He did. I hated to see him go out like that, but
Emmett wanted his money. Emmett wanted his money, and the Cardinals franchise just wanted his name.
I agree. I can agree with that. I mean, he got a chance to break the record there, but it just wasn't a good look.
No, absolutely.
But I will say that the Redskins definitely are facing a lot of injuries. They lost their rookie running back, Darius Geis, or Juice, however you want to say it, Samaje Perine, and Byron Marshall. And they still have Chris Thompson, who got injured last year. You got Rob Kelly, who's supposed to be coming in. But, I spoke to a Redskins fan earlier who said they didn't believe that Rob Kelly was a great, I guess, single back to carry the load. So bringing in Adrian Peterson to kind of give that veteran presence, I guess, is a good opportunity for them, especially with Alex Smith, check down Alex.
Check down a lot. Yeah, check down Alex.
So it might not be too bad for Adrian Peterson there. Hopefully they can use him appropriately if they're.
But how are they going to use him appropriately? Like, is he still a 3-down back?
I don't know if anybody's a 3-down back at this point, except for like maybe 5 guys. Like everybody else is kind of situational. 2 downs here, 3 downs here. It's only like 5 guys. Le'Veon Bell can carry it. I know we talk about Zeke. We talk about David Johnson. We talk. Eventually we're gonna start talking about people like Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Mark Ingram, getting that next contract extension. They'll probably let him walk and let Alvin Kamara take over.
Which I don't think that's a wise move, but
I don't think so. I like Mark Ingram. I've always thought he's been good.
Well, I just think that 1-2 punch with Kamara and Ingram helped the Saints out a lot.
I think with the money aspect, that's where they'll probably look to add somebody else who can give them that second punch, that power punch.
That's because they keep giving Drew Brees money.
That is true too, which I think this would probably be Drew Brees' last contract. But
yes,
I think Adrian Peterson and, Chris Thompson, or a combination of Rob Kelly and Adrian Peterson, I think he can contribute to them and contribute well. I just believe that it's going to be interesting, to say the least.
But will he be able to still produce? And of course, that's what the Stephen A. Smiths, that pissant of the world. I'm already starting with them already.
I see.
But that's what they're gonna ask. Those are the questions you're gonna ask. Can he still produce at a high level?
I think he can. I think. Well, number one, I wanted him on the Bucs 2 years now, back to back, because I feel like he still has that veteran presence that he might be able to teach some young guys how to work.
Yes.
He's always had that all-pro body that he can. He's always been a workhorse in the gym. So I think that's something that young running backs need to see, that guy who can come in and work hard in the gym and really produce. I think he can still get 4 to 5 yards of carry. And honestly, I knew his name. I heard his name. I've seen his name. I've seen it repeatedly because he tore the Bucs last year, of course.
Yep.
So that's the part that kind of stinks, and that's how you knew he still had it. But then again, our defensive line wasn't the greatest. Yeah, exactly.
Man, I'm tasting all that salt over there, sir.
Exactly. Straight Rick and Morton.
Wow.
I
thought it was just called Martin Salt.
No, I changed it now to Rick and Morton.
Rick and Morton. Oh no. Oh jeez.
Exactly. But I think he'll be good though. I think he'll contribute. I will see him if the others don't return, especially the P. Ryans, the Juice. I don't think those guys are potentially coming back anytime soon. I could see him getting 150 to almost 200 carries because they'll probably split carries. But if he's able to get back to the Adrian Peterson that we know, I could see them riding him all the way through the whole season.
I think if he starts having a really good season, the first 3 games, they're going to really try to upload a lot of the offense through him.
Why not?
But the question that I have as it gets later on in the season, and let's say they're trying to get a playoff berth now, at least a wild card berth. it runs the risk of him getting some kind of injury or whatnot, because we don't know what he can really do because they seldomly used him last year.
Yeah, I think last year I think the Cardinals had like 3 or 4 running backs. I know they had Chris Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
They had Adrian Peterson. Obviously, their main running back got hurt, but it's like there's so many. They had so many different running backs. So
wasn't Chris Johnson on that team last year too?
Chris Johnson was on that team. That's what I'm saying. They had David Johnson. They had Chris Johnson. They had Adrian Peterson, and they had another short running back. I can't remember his name, but it's like they have so many running backs. So Adrian Peterson didn't have to come in and dominate. But in this situation, which is kind of perfect for him, he needs to come in and really split with this other running back. So
yes,
it's going to be interesting.
I think it will be. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with this team. And, hopefully they try to follow a little bit more closely with the Redskins as the season progresses, and we can let you know, the people, know more about how he's progressing and give our thoughts on it.
Absolutely. Just can't wait. Can't wait.
I
mean, we're embarking on not season 3, week 3.
No, we in season 3.
Well, yeah, we're in season 3, but they're in week 3. That's what I meant of the preseason. So he still gets 2 games to potentially work, which is good timing. Of course, we're going to talk about some other potential signings, like Dez. So if they're going to bring him in, now is a good time, to have somebody learn an offense and kind of get themselves situated.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, I think Adrian Peterson joining the Redskins is a good move.
I completely agree with you. But now that you mentioned preseason, it does lead to another side question I have for you. And it's something that I recently just noticed today as I was watching Undisputed. And they mentioned the amount of reps that Tom Brady's been taking in the preseason. Do you think he's taking too many reps for his age, for the amount of time he's been playing quarterback now? Or is this a sign of they're really trying to get the team prepared for the season?
I think they're trying to get the team prepared for the season. I think he's lost a few wide receivers. So I think he's really, really trying to work on that timing. And I think even today they cut Kenny Britt. So I would imagine that he didn't do so good with those reps that he was out there. So
Kenny Britt's heading back to Bayonne, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Back to Bayonne. Exactly. Maybe he can get a wide receiver coaching job at Rutgers. Because, it doesn't seem like he's going to potentially get any other opportunities unless, maybe the Giants pick him up.
The Beta Bunks friends do not condone the ripping of a college educational institution. Even if their football team sucks.
Come on. Let's just be honest. Come on.
Well, that's why I put the disclaimer at the end of it. Like,
come on. Sure, the school is good, but come on. But yeah, I don't think that's foul of him to do more reps. Obviously, it does leave more risk of injury, but it's Tom Brady. He barely gets hit anyway, and I'm sure they're doing a lot of quick throws and quick plays.
They are.
And they're just trying to get on a roll. They have a new tackle. So he wants to make sure that tackle's going to have his back, I just think he just wants to work him out so he can know who he should recommend for cuts.
Because he's the coach now.
Yeah, he's going to go in there and they're going to be like, hey, we have to cut 20 people. Mm-hmm. Who do you want? Who do you want? Well, clearly he did not. And I repeat, he did not want Kenny Britt.
They're like, oh, it's Kenny Britt. Who? Kenny Britt. Get out of here. You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired. But yeah, I think that's a good question. Good point. I'll probably listen to that over the weekend. I like to listen to the best of Undisputed, as I feel like I can kind of skip through some of the fluff. So I usually listen to that over the weekend while I'm walking in the morning. But yeah, I think Tom is out there just trying to be great. Tom Terrific.
Tom Terrific.
Now, speaking of terrific,
they say overhyped people, but
no, cutting, changing, the way things are done. What are your initial thoughts 2 weeks into the preseason of the new helmet rule?
They still have a long way to go with these rules. Let me just start off with that because, like, they're basically trying to make this game much more safer, and I think it's starting to become a little bit more counterintuitive because where they can't do one thing, something else is going to happen. So, like, you can't cut off one extreme and not expect another extreme to take place. And we're starting to see that now with the new helmet rule.
I think we saw on Twitter, I know I posted on it, there was a sack. I don't recall the game in which it happened, but it was a preseason game where
yes, I know which one you're talking about too. Yep,
exactly. Player goes to sack the quarterback, doesn't lower his head, but really leans in with his shoulder and gets hit with a flag. That's unbelievable.
That was absolute asinine.
And that was something that could hurt the game, later on in the future, like especially if you're going to watch a game and it's, fourth quarter, with 1 minute and 56 seconds left.
Yeah.
And, you're trying to drive the game down and your running back lowers his head and leads with his helmet. That's kind of ridiculous.
It is very ridiculous. But, I mean, it just goes back to, they're being so cognizant on player safety. Like, you're end up hurting the game. Like, we're going to end up having touch football. And people are going to get upset about it. Or even flag football.
So the thing is that's weird is this is something not only that you're going to get a 15-yard penalty for, but it also can get certain players ejected.
Yep.
And that is crazy. Like,
that's
insane.
Like, okay, is it fair or foul if I said that the NFL is trying to turn itself into the NBA? When it comes to penalizing players.
Somewhat fair. I'll say that the NBA,
because we have some refs at the NBA that has a hair trigger. And they be like, out.
But the NBA, they're still I think that the NBA is still trying so hard to let people play. And sometimes, especially for us Rockets fans, comes off as the wrong time for them to let people play the game, especially when people are getting,
just getting killed out there.
Exactly. I want them to call a foul and not pick and choose. Don't say this is a season foul and this is a playoff foul. Like, it should be fouls across the board. Although
we both will agree that they tend to either call playoff games a little bit more tightly or too loosely to allow the boys to play. Now, I agree with you that there needs to be some kind of line when it comes to identifying what's a violation or a foul and keeping that consistent throughout 48 minutes of a game. The issue that I have is the referee's tendencies of doing a lot of makeup fouls.
And that's whack too.
Because I would say that's really whack.
It is whack. I don't want James Harden to get fouled, or not get called for a foul over here, but then, he actually steals the ball and then he gets called for a foul. Like, nobody wants that.
Well, no, that's not the makeup call.
Well, I mean, I'm saying he fouls somebody over here and he doesn't get called, and then he actually steals a ball over here, and then they call it, but it was a clean steal. That's what I'm saying. That's usually what happens. It's something clean that they call a foul, and that's where it gets to be kind of ridiculous. I feel like that's what happened. But let me ask you though, really quickly, about these two comments here. I'll go with the first one here by Sean Merriman. Lights out Sean Merriman.
Yep.
He says this new helmet rule will lead to injuries for defensive players. How do you feel about that? And I mean, let's see. How do you feel about that first before I go into any,
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with him. And it just goes back to, you took away one extreme, now you're going to bring another extreme into the equation. and you're going to see a lot of DBs get hurt. Like this is a offensive league now.
Right.
Like,
they want more points.
They want more points on the board because that brings, the booties to the seats.
Not the booties.
The booty. Oh, to the seats.
All right. Well, what do you? Go ahead.
But like, it's turned into offensive league, and they're slowly but surely taking away all of the abilities for these DBs. Like the DBs can't even touch these wide receivers for the most part. They can't even, have a safety lay out one of them for going across the middle.
At all.
At all.
At all. And it's pretty ridiculous. You really can't even hit someone at this point the way you want to. It's kind of like it's almost like you have to let them catch it.
Well, and that's the thing too. So I believe, I forgot which teams it was, but it was a preseason game where someone got hit midair while going for the ball, and they got called for PI. Right.
Oh, for PI, not for hitting well, I know in college it's hitting a defenseless player. In NFL,
yeah,
it's weird,
Exactly. I mean, a lot of fans for these teams, and I don't have a team, so I can stay unbiased about this. But a lot of fans, would complain that the referees are making up the rules as the game is going along. And
that's cool.
On one hand, they're being pretty salty right now. They might need to stop eating all this salt and drink a nice good beverage. And I don't mean water. But oh my gosh. But in some scenarios, it does seem that way. I mean, heck, people are still talking about the whole index card situation that happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
With the Patriots.
That was ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like, that was the funniest part of all of last year's football. Like, I mean, it was really, really funny. Like, I'm still laughing at him because he was laughing at the fact that he even did this.
Of course he was. But then he looked over the sidelines and saw Bill Belichick with that static glare like, you're really not going to let me get that first down? You're really not going to let me get that first down?
So
we're on to Cincinnati.
Oh my God. So, all right. So second question here, or second statement here, and you just let me know what you think.
Okay.
Richard Sherman says there's no mistake. There's no make adjustment to the way you tackle. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Even in a perfect form tackle, the body is led by the head. The rule is idiotic and should be dismissed immediately. When you watch rugby players tackle, they are still leading by the head.
Yep.
We will be flag football soon.
Richard Sherman, as boisterous and loud-spoken as he is 100% correct. The NFL is now expecting, and you're going to get this reference too, they're expecting defensive players to tackle via cross-body blocks. Like they're all Bray Wyatt.
I was just thinking that. It's kind of like hugging.
Well, not even hugging, because you still have to try to go like this. Like, you kind of have to like go to the side like... Like, I'm just saying, like, soon someone's going to get frustrated and do a spinning heel kick on someone. They're like, I didn't lead by the head.
Not even close to head.
Pulling a Antonio Brown by trying to leap over someone and kicking them square in the face.
Absolutely.
No, Bruce Boeing and people over here.
Did that person get? Did he get a flag? I don't think he got a flag for that.
He got a flag for that. He got a flag for that.
He did.
He got a flag for that.
Okay.
But
so
Richard Sherman's
response though is worse though.
The NFL needs to reconsider answering complaints or claims by players and media members until they have a chance to analyze it.
So the NFL committee, the competition committee did, who's led by Troy Vincent, did release a statement here. The NFL competition committee met today by a conference to discuss the new rule. Of course, the committee reviewed feedback from players, coaches, and the officials. I mean, of course. And they came to a resolution that there would be no changes as approved by clubs this spring. So
But is that stubbornness,
owners,
though?
I guess. So that's where it gets kind of weird. So the owners made this rule and kind of came to a consensus that they would agree to it. Yes. I mean, I wonder what they had to give up, or there must have been some other rules that were more pressing that they really wanted to decline. That they were like, we'll throw the players to the wolves and let them figure this out. We really don't want this to come into action. So you think about it. What was the offseason dominated about? It was all about the anthem. Well, we really don't want the anthem.
It was two things. It was the anthem and it was the catch rule.
Anthem and catch rule. We really don't want the anthem. Mm-hmm. We don't care what you do with this helmet thing. Oh, yeah, helmet. Let's get to the anthem. Helmet. Oh, yeah, helmet. Okay, they can't leave with it. That's fine. There's an anthem, though, costing me coins, costing me dollars, costing me moolah, the green, the dough, the cheese. I mean, holla at your boy. I'm Jerry Jones.
Cheese.
Exactly.
Run-a-mucker, get out there and get him a stinky cheese.
Put him in a body bag.
Wait, you know what movie I'm talking about, right?
I do. I just wanted to say put him in a body bag.
Okay, I'm like, I felt like you just went totally different direction with that one.
Yeah, I did. But they're gonna keep the rule, of course. And of course, evaluate it over the next 2 weeks and throughout the season to see. But I mean, I think people are probably going to get hurt. I could see some, some shoulder issues, potentially some back issues, and people might actually. I would say this new rule could result in more concussions. Ironically,
I think this rule is gonna result in a lot of people getting put in wrestling moves.
Yeah, because you think about it, like if you're so focused on keeping your head up, you know what I mean? And as a running back, like you're taught
to put your head down.
Exactly.
And lower that shoulder and lay on the boom.
But now you can't even do that. So It's gonna be a lot of stiff arms, a lot of juking and all kinds of crap. So we'll definitely see how that works.
Let me tell you, I just thought of just now, and it'll make my NFL watching career complete. If a running back is barreling down towards a DB and the DB leans back and catches the running back into a maple leaf.
Oh my God.
Come on. Tell me that won't be sick.
When you first started saying this story, I thought you were going to go, when you say the corner or the defensive back tries to catch the running back, I thought you were going to go Dirty Dancing with it.
Which did premiere, so many years ago. The other day, fun facts for y'all, Gotti facts. But the running back is barreling towards the DB. The DB is squared up, about to try to make this tackle. And he's like, "Man, I can't even leave with my head anymore. How can I tackle this guy?"
Wow! Breaking news. I have to stop this here. Dallas Cowboys center Travis Frederick announces that he has Guillain-Barré syndrome.
I just saw that one too.
Wow. So that could potentially have an impact on his NFL career and his life, of course. The doctors have told him that it's not possible to determine a timetable for his return to the field. That is major. A great young prospect, a great guy, 27-year-old. That is so unbelievably crazy.
I know.
Wow, definitely wishing him recovery. Definitely prayers for him and his family. Not so much the Cowboys, but him and his family. Yeah, that's so terrible.
I got nothing to say there. I mean, it is really tragic. And this is a autoimmune disorder,
right?
Where the immune system attacks the healthy nerve cells. So, this is no laughing matter, and I don't mean humorous.
Of course.
But we hope all the best for him. I mean, if it means him having to hang him up early,
that's terrible.
I mean, it's terrible. But you know what? like we always talk about like what's the best way for people to, you know, stop playing. And you know, we often say we don't want them to stop playing because of injury.
Right.
And we don't necessarily look at like if they get some kind of, you know, disease or disorder that prevents them to stop, but that makes them stop playing. And maybe that's something that, you know, the media, and, you know, we're not the media. We're never going to say we're the media. And even debate amongst friends, you know, need to open up that conversation more about too.
Well, I mean, we'll definitely keep him in his prayers and hope that he does have a recovery, not so much to return to the field, but just so he can live the rest of his life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, I mean, football, it's life for a lot of people, but, you know, you only have one life, and, you know, you don't want to just spend it trying to force yourself back into a sport to where something bad can happen to you. Like, if it means hanging him up, then just hang him up. Like we literally had a few years ago a bunch of players retire early only after like 3 years in the league.
This is true. And I mean, even think about, you know, somebody like Chris Bosh, you know, who really has the heart, you know, the determination to play basketball, but the risk, you know, with these blood clots was like really, really a big deal that teams would rather, like the Heat would rather pay him $19 to $20 million not to play. And that's crazy. But yeah, hopefully, you know, I'm sure the Dallas Cowboys, a health, you know, team, they're going to work with him. I'm sure they're going to get the best specialists out there. Again, not so much that he can come back to the field, but to make sure that he's actually going to recover.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing it does say here, just doing a quick search, is this: the vast majority of people do recover within a year. But, you know, hopefully, hey, he's able to overcome this. Definitely have him in our prayers. But let's definitely switch gears here to the last subject for the NFL. I mean, speaking of Cowboys, a former Cowboy, Dez Bryant. Obviously, we just saw on Hard Knocks episode 3 that Dez Bryant, who, you know, the media has always been talking about Dez coming and joining. I know Jarvis Landry said, hey, come on down, bro. We would love to have you, so on and so forth. I don't know.
Bless him.
Bless him, exactly. I don't know if the Browns need Dez Bryant. I don't think so. I think that what I saw out of Jarvis Landry, obviously, you know, they have some other young receivers. You know, there was the one receiver, and that was the whole thing of Hard Knocks episode 2 was about their rookie wide receiver out of Florida, who, you know, came into the league with trouble. You know, he got pulled over, and they found a little. It was like, I mean, if you could see my hand, I mean, I think it was
swallowed to that, yeah.
Let me pick something up.
It was like,
I got nothing.
And the worst part is, like, it was already used.
Right, and for the people who saw it, like Antonio Callaway was the receiver I'm talking about, 21 years old, very fast guy. The one thing that stood out in episode 2 was that instead of benching him, they decided to play him every snap of the preseason game. And I thought that was huge.
That was huge.
And he was able to overcome it. He played it. That was his punishment. I've never seen anything like that, but I appreciated that. So I think that they have some talent there. But Dez Bryant, I mean,
I get what you're saying. I really do.
I don't know.
But here's the deal. And of course, you know, Undisputed and, you know, First Take with that pissant Stephen A. Smith, I'm still calling you out every single week.
Let's see what you got.
Woo! But here's the deal, though. Do I see Dez joining the Browns and make an immediate impact? Absolutely. I mean, he still can provide something for an offense. I'm not saying he's the top 5 receiver.
You think Dez is going to learn the slot, though? That's the only thing he can play in this offense. I mean,
you know what?
Listen,
you know what, though? I don't think he ever had a chance to really learn the slot when he was with Dallas. And I feel like Hugh Jackson and, Todd Haley will definitely try to push him to do more and put him outside of his comfort zone.
I like Todd Haley too.
And at least from what I saw on the 3rd episode of Hard Knocks, like it sounds like he really is willing to, try to work hard for change for the team's benefit and not just for himself. And that's why I'm like, even though they're saying they're not signing him right now, it's a possibility that can still happen. That's one reason. Number 2, Josh Gordon.
I mean, I think when Josh Gordon is on the field, he's healthy. His mind is clear.
He's absolutely electric. Like he's
a top 10 receiver.
He's top 6 potentially. As number 6.
I don't know. You know why I would say top 10.
You realize I'm trolling with you in that comment, right?
I know, but I know Mike Evans is top 10, top 5. Excuse me. I mean, listen. Top 5, top 10. They're still one of the top receivers.
I don't know. We might have to do that before the season starts. We might have to dedicate an episode with top 5 dead or alive, and that's just off of 1 LP.
You know what we could do? Maybe next week, and then the last week, maybe next week we could do top 5 players of each position or all the skill positions on offense, and then the week after that we could do top 5 on defense, and then that could be the show.
I like that, Chris, if you can write that down, that's going to be in the brainstorm meeting next Tuesday. Thanks. See, Chris always got our backs.
But if Josh Gordon his mind is clear, I think he can definitely roll with them. I mean, I think he can be really good for them.
Josh Gordon with Tyron or Josh Gordon with Baker, like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, even watching the episode, I'm just like, I'm watching Baker, and it was during their preseason game against the Bills. He's playing in the rain, and their back's up against the wall because they're losing. Like, and all I can imagine is, wow, imagine if Josh Gordon was there. Because he kept throwing it to, I want to say number 83, who they call Juice.
Gotcha.
And Baker was looking absolutely incredible, but all I could think of is, man, imagine if that was Josh Gordon as well too. Or imagine if he was throwing that to, he has Gordon and Landry and even Dez right there. Like, the world is his oyster right there.
I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks to succeed. Because you think about it, they bring in Dez, and you're talking about pairing them with Jarvis Landry and Josh Gordon with somebody like Callaway. They got David Njoku. They would have to succeed. Like, they would just have to go out there and succeed. They would have to. They had no choice. Don't even talk to me about that.
I feel like a lot of people immediately. Well, Hugh Jackson gonna get fired anyway.
I mean, not if they win 10 games or 9 games. If they
and that's what I'm like, he's going to, get fired anyway, especially if they start off like 0-6 in the season.
Oh yeah, he's done if they do that. If they do that,
like a great man once said, it's the last game of the season.
Yeah, you gotta give it all.
Have to leave it all out there. And I'm like, if they have that kind of receiving core, along with their tight end as well too.
Yeah, who actually I think is a great tight end.
Like I think they can make a lot of magic happen, and it'll be the first time in a long time that people really talk about the Browns as a serious contender, the AFC.
So you want to know something? Speaking of the Browns and Cleveland, of course, not to go there. I know we weren't going to do that today, but that's
you told me not to do that.
How did you feel? I mean, that's how they started Hard Knocks, kind of removing the poster of the Cleveland King or the former Cleveland King. They removed his poster, and they were like, "Well, what are we gonna put here over these ugly apartment buildings now?" Because that's really what it is, something to cover these ugly apartment buildings. And it's like, oh, I guess we got to find a big, whoever starts for the Browns. That's who's going to go up there.
What Cleveland needs to put up there until their football team starts winning games? They need to put up there a huge poster with the Duds cap.
Wow. I was thinking more of a big L, but I figured that you wouldn't.
Or they should take one of our T-shirt designs, and not this one, even though this is nice, and put that up there, and they need to put that they are trash up there, because they haven't proved a darn thing yet.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna have the same kind of initial presence as LeBron James. Like he was the hope for the future for the entire city, for the entire state. The last thing you want to do is have that same issue again.
The only thing I can think of is that they put a big poster up of a milk carton, and on the milk carton it just says, "Where is October?"
Oh no! Why would you say that?
That's all I can think of.
He just celebrated his birthday too. Why would you do this though?
I'm sorry. He deserved it, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Donde es Octobre?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
You know what they should put up there? I got exactly what they should put up there, and you're gonna love it. It should be a big poster, and it's gonna be a photograph of a great man. A great man. And that man's name is Chris.
Oh, Chris, a poster of Chris, the guy who has never, and the doc means never, shown his face on camera. A big poster of Chris would be dynamic.
Exactly. And that's the point, ladies and gentlemen, because Cleveland, y'all just need to focus on winning.
This is true. This is very true.
Focus on winning.
But I think they're in the right direction. I mean, I think bringing in Tyrod, drafting Baker Mayfield, they
also have Drew Stanton on too as the third string quarterback.
Yeah, they have some good pieces there. I think Drew is a great guy to mentor. Somebody who's had success in the past, coming in and going to mentor Baker. I think Tyrod's work ethic. I know in the first episode.
I was trying to think of when Drew Stanton had success, but.
Drew Stanton had his success. I mean, when he came in the league, he started a few games. He's bounced around a little bit.
You're not making him sound any better right now.
I mean, he had success. I mean, he played pretty well with the Cardinals. I mean, in 2014, he threw for 1,700 yards as a backup. I mean, come on, give the guy some credit.
I'll give him some credit. I mean, even
it's
not a lot. It's like this much credit, just that much credit. That's it.
As much of that bud that cop found in this guy's car. I mean, that's so much credit you just gave.
Not that we're condoning people to, use illegal substances and things like that. Like, don't do that. Don't do drugs, kids.
Of course not. But I mean, I would say the one thing about Drew Stanton and Tyrod, Hugh Jackson made sure to let, Baker know, like, hey, listen, you got to do what these other guys do. Mm-hmm. What time did you say Tyrod's waking up? Tyrod's in the gym at 4:30?
At 4:30 a.m.
What time are you in the gym? What you got to build? You got to make your own. Yeah. You got to make your own traditions. You got to put your stamp on. You want to be great.
You have to set the pace. You have to set the
Absolutely.
pace.
So,
and the funny part is Baker even said that when he was on Colin Cowherd show. He was like, "I'm there to set the pace. I'm here to set that foundation for the rest of the team. Everything needs to come through me." Like, he's saying all the right things.
I think everybody's saying all the right things. It just comes down to when the season starts.
Number one overall, and now he has to battle to try to start to it's different.
Absolutely. And it stinks because it's like you don't want to root against the guy ahead of you, but then it's like
no. I mean, I just and I don't gloat about things, but I still gloat when they're like, yeah, I didn't even know that Baker Mayfield was gonna be number one overall. I'm like, I called that.
You did. Yeah, it was good. That was a good read on your behalf. Because, I mean, I was almost expecting it to be, pretty much anybody else. I expected him to go top 5, just not number 1. I really expected him to go 2 to 4 in there, or at least to the Jets. I thought him going to New York, he definitely would have been a starter in New York.
He would have definitely been a starter in New York.
Yeah. But I think football, sir, is done.
It's over.
So as far as NBA news, obviously we're gonna have a brand new San Antonio Spurs team, and the most recent update shows Manu Ginobili seriously considering retirement. Now, I could be honest, and this is something that we talked about with last week. We talked about on social media about the likes of Chris Paul and James Harden getting together, Dwayne Wade joining LeBron last year. Friends playing together.
Friends.
I mean, just think about it
like that.
Don't
have many of them. Friends.
Listen, Manu Ginobili ran through this career of his playing with one of the best, if not the best, power forward in the league.
Hands down, one of my favorite players.
Absolutely. And then a superstar of a point guard for years in Tony Parker.
A point guard that people slept on.
Still sleep on. I think he still got game. And then you lose Kawhi, who, I don't know how his relationship is with Kawhi, but obviously they did win a championship together at least. So if Ginobili was to retire, I mean, are we even going to recognize these San Antonio Spurs?
So you don't have the star power there anymore. Now, at the end of this past season, I don't know if you remember me, but I said that this is towards the end of Greg Popovich's career as a coach. And as things started to progress in the offseason, Tony Parker leaving, and then Kawhi Leonard getting traded, and now Manu considering retirement, and this is all after, Tim Duncan left. I said at least 1 to 2 more years with Pop. Like, he's going to groom someone to take over and, going to hand over the reins. And I don't mean big dog.
I mean, I don't expect it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he would want Becky Hammond to take over. I know he has some other assistants there, but I'm sure he's going to say, hey, Becky should get at least a fair shake at it if the other assistants don't want it.
I think everyone underneath Pop's coaching tree, I don't think they have the ego to get upset if someone gets something before them.
Agreed.
Like, if you think of great coaching trees in just sports history, like the great coaches that has those, disciples underneath him, like, they're very selfless, and all they really care about is what's best for the game and how to, work with the team that they're working with right now. Not so much as, I want mines, I'm going to get mines. That's the players to have that ego, not the coaches.
Well, man, when I look at it here also, I know one of his biggest assistants, James Borgo, he left to coach Charlotte. So, I mean, obviously Hammond would move up. I know there are a few other coaches that are still there, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does go out and, I mean, she's been there for what, 6 years now.
Yeah, I
wouldn't be surprised if she gets the nod. I mean, it's going to be interesting. We're going to finally get that Eddie feeling, I guess. Whoopi Goldberg when she coached the Knicks. I mean, obviously she wasn't exactly. That was a good movie though. Don't be hating on Eddie. David Patton didn't play defense until Eddie got there. He was referring to himself in the first person the whole movie until, Eddie had to call his mama.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, I'm wondering though if this team is going to be good. Who takes over? I mean, can DeMar DeRozan take over this team with the cast that's there?
I think if anyone can make sure that DeMar DeRozan does this, it's Greg Popovich. Like, he is the only coach that we know that can make gold out of nothing. when it comes to the people that he has. And we said this time and time again, and we keep saying that, Coach Pop is, in my opinion at least, top 3 coach of all time. As far as molding people, because before they go to the Spurs, for the most part, a lot of those players are, troublemakers or absolute trash. And when they play for the Spurs, they're at almost all-star level.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the pairing if this goes this way, because, I mean, they also, shipped off Danny Green, DeMar DeRozan, and Rudy Gay. I think that's going to be kind of special. I like that duo. Even though Rudy's a little older, I think that's going to be good. I'm not sure. I know they got Jakob Poeltl. And, obviously Paul Gasol and his aging ways. I could see them making a slight increase, depending on how DeMar DeRozan plays. But I mean, this is going to be such a different team. They don't have any of that international flavor that they usually have. Yeah, that's why it looks so weird. I mean, Ginobili, Parker. I mean, it's just going to be so weird. But I think that it's going to be interesting to watch the progression. I think he may hang it up. I mean, he's going to meet with Popovich sometime this week and decide whether he wants to move on. But it's definitely going to be interesting.
I think once we get more news about it, we'll definitely let you, the people, find out more about our opinions about this.
Absolutely. I mean, ultimately, I think the NBA news is starting to die down. So, obviously guys will be headed to, workouts. We always see the workout videos and everything. Everybody's playing one-on-one and all this other stuff. So we'll see what happens. But I'm actually looking forward now to this top 5 offense and top 5 defense in the next couple of weeks. I'll try to make sure we start getting that together. Obviously, the season finale of Marking Out Amongst Friends is tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Doc and Prof will be making a special cameo for Marking Out Amongst Friends tomorrow. It should be starting 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9 p.m.
Hopefully, I would say 8, somewhere between 8 and 9. Hopefully, it's the latter because the Doc's got to, make a run. But I mean, I'll pop in, and
offer your take about it.
Yeah, I'll drop in and see. Obviously, I've probably set a lot of fires in the Game Runners group.
As did I actually, especially with my score about SummerSlam.
Well, I think I was just trolling. It was trolling.
I definitely called you out a lot of times. I'm like, and we have a troll, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't think that it was trolling 100%.
You were trolling 95%.
I thought it was like a half. It
was like 95. 50. It was 90. I literally could watch you. I was literally reading your stuff, and I can vision you sitting there laughing maniacally as you're typing.
I didn't think it was that bad. Give me an example.
That bad. It was that bad.
Give me an example.
Authors of Pain.
I'm serious.
No, you're not.
That,
no, you're not. No, you're not.
They need something. They need
you at least reference Authors of Pain in a new post, like at least 3 times a day at one point.
They need to be pushed in a way so that people don't forget about them. I mean, I was serious about the AJ Styles thing. I thought that was pretty serious. I mean, but I know, I know Jay Rich will probably ask me some of these questions. I mean, I think the only person I trolled really yesterday was Lady Toya's about her announcement. I mean, really, how long do we have to be subject to that? So, I mean, hopefully they'll ask me some pressing questions tomorrow that I can give my honest answer. I still think that, NXT was better than SummerSlam, but
I mean, and that's what Marking Out Amongst Friends, debate amongst friends, just business amongst friends in general. That's for us giving our opinions about things. Whether or not they allow people to feel warm and fuzzy inside, that's subjective to your own thoughts about it.
Absolutely. But yeah, we'll definitely join them tomorrow.
But sir, I do have a question, and this question does come from the Duchess, and it's for both of us. And her question was, how come we do not cover the WNBA? And why does the media not cover the WNBA?
So I'll answer that in two ways. Number one, I am very excited that the WNBA is going to be in NBA Live this year. Number one, I'm really excited about that. I thought that should have been done. I thought the WNBA should have had its own game years ago. I was always pressing that. But I think for us, that is a good question because I know we definitely cover women's college basketball when it's that time around. But she brings up a good perspective. I mean, I would love if we had a correspondent that wanted to take the reins, and I don't mean Mark or Roman. I would love for someone to take the reins on that. But I think ultimately, I never know, and this is honest truth. I never know when the season starts or ends. Like I feel like their season is so much shorter than the NBA.
It is,
and it's like not televised. I think they don't get enough love, and I don't know. That's a good question. I don't even really have a great answer because I just feel like though I don't see it. I don't even know the players. I think obviously I know people like Becky Hammond,
but she used to play.
Yeah, like I know her. I know, of course. I think I know the originals. The Cheryl Swoops, the Lisa Leslies, but some of these other people who are these other girls who are great.
You know about a lot of the females who used to play for UConn.
I don't.
Like Maya Moore.
I know. I don't know what she's doing now. Like I don't know where she is. You know what I mean? Like,
well, ironically, she is currently going fishing because her team lost in the playoffs to the LA Sparks.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't even know the playoffs were on right now. That's what I'm saying. So I guess that's where it kind of gets. I mean, I don't mind discussing, the WNBA. I just feel as though they, as a product overall, haven't made that leap to make it great. Like women's basketball, college basketball, huge. I think it's a shame that, what's that? UConn ladies, Notre Dame ladies now, college basketball in general gets way more coverage.
I thought you was about to say something else with that.
Coverage
I'm like, oh gosh, here we go again.
Than the WNBA. And I think it's important that they, as a company, really start pushing the envelope on the league. I mean, what do you think about it? I don't want to take all the spotlight of it, of course.
Oh no, and it's great that you mentioned all that stuff too, because for me, I look at it as when the WNBA first started, and this was, I want to say it was like late 90s, almost towards 2000.
Absolutely. Right.
Like everyone was all over because, and I use this term a lot, it's shiny and new, and everyone wants to, be like, oh yeah, I watch it too. The issue that the WNBA had was it didn't keep up that same momentum.
Agreed.
So the viewership dropped significantly. In fact, a lot of people didn't even know the WNBA still existed at one point.
It's kind of where I am right now.
It also doesn't help out that the media doesn't cover it as much either. Like, yeah, they might cover it, but it's like 2 minutes. And, let's think about like ESPN. ESPN an hour long. That's 30 seconds for the WNBA if you want to put it into scale.
I agree.
So at one point, I don't want to put blame, but, you have to identify the root causes to why no one's talking about the WNBA, and that's fan base attention and media coverage. Like those two are huge. Imagine if no one gave the same kind of attention to the NBA that's happening to the WNBA. Just ponder that for a second. Heck, we almost had that very same kind of situation last season with the NFL with viewership drops. Yeah, the media, was paying so much attention to it, but that's because the media turned into TMZ and wanted to care so much more about the anthem protest than the actual game itself.
Agreed.
But when it comes to us, I mean, I agree. I don't mind talking about the WNBA. In fact, I think it'll be fun to talk about the WNBA. Like, I feel like they play they play basketball the way, you know, it should be, with technical prowess. And
Agreed.
even though they have egos, they don't make it be too high of an ego, in my opinion.
Right. I look forward to it.
I think so too. Maybe it's something that, you know, as their playoffs is going, you know, heading down to it, and we catch highlights or even catch a game somewhere, like, we should just talk about it on the show. I'm all for it.
Absolutely. I mean, the only other player that I truly remember, obviously so much controversy, I know we talked about it when it came out, is Brittney Griner.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely remember Brittney Griner. I mean, but I didn't know she was on the Phoenix Mercury. Let's just put it like that. I you know, no idea. No clue. Because they don't, like I said, I would say somebody as big as, like, the WNBA doesn't really have a lot of tall players.
Which is funny, you know, because, like, the Mercury went to the is going to the second round after beating the Dallas Wings. The Dallas Wings, who's a new franchise out here as well, too, in the DFW area, made it to the playoffs. So, I mean, that's a thing.
That is a thing, but, I mean, who are they, you know? Who are they?
It's up to us to find out who they are, and we can tell you, the people, who they are as well, too. And maybe it'll spark your interest to watch a couple of games. Heck, I don't even mind going to a game out here in, you know, the state of Texas, or yourself going to a game in the great state of North Carolina. Like, it could happen. We just need to know these things, and the lack of media coverage doesn't necessarily help the case of things. I mean, granted, they started getting more attention because people started talking about pay equality, which I think is a huge issue, and I think we should probably talk about that a lot more, and perhaps have someone come on to the show to talk about such things as well. But it begins with wanting to talk about it.
And even interesting, with the Mercury beating the Dallas Wings, the irony of that is that Brittney Griner is actually married to Glory Johnson, who's on the Dallas Wings.
Yeah,
which is interesting. So I'm sure that made for an interesting dinner.
It's just a game. It's just the way the games are. It's just the way the games are. Why you had
to dunk on me like that? Why you had to dunk on me like that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I had to. You was in the lane. Why would you stand in the lane?
I felt we're getting into hot water here. I think we should probably continue on.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a great question. I mean, I'm glad she brought that up. And,
absolutely.
You know, I really look forward to the return of Duke It Out. You know, I know it's been a long hiatus. I mean, I was expecting a hot take, especially with all this Nicki Minaj and, you know, the VMAs. I was expecting a hot take from the Duchess, because it's getting ridiculous out here. I mean, how, you know, Nicki Minaj blaming everybody for everything. I just want to see it. Oh,
we also have another breaking news. And I think you probably saw this one earlier. The I guess the LA Raiders, but they're still Oakland Raiders, signed a corner, defensive back, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that's a good pickup. One of the better corners left on free agency. So I think that so was as well good.
Too. And it now, does that hinder the Giants secondary now? I think it does. I mean, granted, didn't he have a show on USA Network?
You know, I don't know, because there's so many different Cromarties. I don't even know if that's the same one. One of them has 12 kids. I don't know, bro. It's
an interesting thing to try to find out.
I think it's Antonio Cromartie who has the show. He has his 14th show.
Got it. 14th.
His 14th child.
Oh, I'm like, what is he? Who is he? The Miz?
Yeah, 14th child. So it's Antonio Cromartie who has the children and the show. That's what I'm saying. I don't follow those type of shows. So how ridiculous.
That's fair.
How ridiculous. How ridiculous. But I'm glad that she brought that up. Like, seriously, I do want to talk about the WNBA. From now on, we're gonna look. I'm gonna try to follow it. I mean, we're gonna see what happens.
Hey, I'm always for it, sir.
It looks like we're at end game.
Yes, we are. And just like every single week, ladies and gentlemen, the Doc and I go through different subjects and give you something to think about, for the rest of the week. And, if you want to talk about it, you can hit us up in the comments of this video. Or if you're listening to us on our other media sites, you can definitely join the debate on Facebook and Twitter, as well as Instagram as well, too. All of them at Debate Amongst Friends. The Twitter handle is at Debate Amongst Fra. We'll be sure to definitely answer your questions. So, Doc, the floor is yours.
So finally, the Doc had an opportunity to make his face in NBA 2K18.
Oh my gosh.
I was so happy. I'm actually going to share my screen just so that people can see it for a split second.
Wait, are we doing this? Wait a minute. What?
You're going to show up on the screen for just a second, but just bear with me here.
Uh-oh.
There you are. But I finally got a chance to create my face. It even has the little V in my forehead. Man, I thought was so really crazy.
Good? I don't know who that guy is next to that profile picture of you, sir.
I don't either. But this is all me. As you can see, look at that. Look at this. This is me. This is it. Look at that. Me, him. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let me just delete this because that was tonight on Debate Amongst Friends.
Wow. We're showing behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, for a final thought.
Hey, they get it all. Let me go back here to the screen here, but I thought that was pretty cool. So the Doc is going to be in 2K doing that. But my other final thought, the Dukies have been running wild in Canada.
Don't use the running wild now, because Mr. Mr. Hogan is still in hot water.
The thing about Hogan, though, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think that it's one of those situations where you kind of expected some of these things for some people. You kind of just never thought it would come out. Like you always look at people, you'd be like, he probably is like that, but I don't want to be that guy to judge him, but he's probably really like that. But I won't say it until it comes out. And it's just one of those guys like Vince. Vince seems to be like one of those guys. It's come out comically, several times, but it's like we knew that he was kind of like that. So I don't want to get too deep into that, but the Dukies were actually dominating in Canada. Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett are looking like they're going to battle for the top 2 picks of next year's draft. They're beasts. They're dominating. Like Zion, it's not, and I don't think for Zion, I don't think it's his dunking ability, his leaping ability. The guy is a worker. And I was telling one of my coworkers, I said, when I used to see Zion's highlight tapes and his games on YouTube, he always looked like a big fish in a little pond. Mm-hmm. But when this big fish came to a bigger pond and still make other fish look small, he looks like a number 1 pick. But RJ Barrett's quietly dominating also. And I think Duke, if they don't win the national championship, I don't think Coach K is even going to continue. I think he's going to be like, if I can't win with these guys, maybe it's me. Because these guys are beasts. Like, I just can't see.
They're balling. They're balling.
Barring injury, like.
Barring injury or suspension.
I cannot see teams beating this Duke team. They're just too good. Think about it. They're not focused on a 3. Zion is just so big. I just can't even do it. And they dominated without 2 of the other incoming freshmen that are supposed to be really good. And that speaks a lot.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the Dukies do. You know, hopefully we can have Mac talk about the ACC as the season comes along.
Well, that guy, he's probably going to be hating all season long. But I mean, I'm thinking about doing my own Duke podcast just to make sure, and I'll have to call him out like you do, Stephen A. Smith, just to make sure I get my point across.
Maybe he'll actually respond. Stephen A. Smith is dodging your boy all the time.
Absolutely. I think if you continue to just poke him, I think he'll eventually come back and say, who are you to be calling me out?
I'm the guy who has a better hairline than you.
Ooh. But your final thought, sir. I can't believe you said that.
Well, before I go into my final thought, I know you've been curious about what the professor has been sipping on this entire show. Now, for those that don't know, I enjoy trying new things. And I have the Duchess always providing me with some new things to provide for the show for you, the people, to try out. And today, man, have you ever had that time where you enjoy some berries but hate that tardiness at the very, very end? Well, this private selection soft drink provides you with a berry taste, but with a very vanilla-y aftertaste. So you can enjoy the berries at the front and the creaminess at the back end. Try the private selection blackberry jam natural flavor cream soda.
Nice.
Make sure you pick it up at your local supermarket if it's there. Most likely it's going to be at Kroger's. Once again, sir, you might need to go check out Kroger's. They have a lot of really, really great things. So
quick thing about Kroger's, right? They closed them. I was going to go pick up some Dr. A through J, and they closed the Kroger, sir. They closed it.
So for those out there, you need to make a petition to Kroger's to tell them to reopen it just for the doc.
Wow, they closed it. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Kroger's. And
nope.
No, you're not going to Kroger's. They're closed. But I'm sure they didn't. I don't think they closed all of them. I think it was just the one that was like right near me. But we'll see. I mean, I'll find it.
Oh, absolutely. So my final thoughts. I don't know if you've seen this, but there has been speculations about a certain soon-to-be Hall of Famer potentially joining the Big Three tournament, who the MVP of the Big Three was Corey Maggette.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, might be joining the Big Three next year.
That would be too ridiculous.
Now, having someone of his stature, someone who modeled his game after his airness, Sir Michael Jordan, and is considered, top 3 all time in many circles, other than LeBron Maniacs, who says LeBron is 1, 2, and 3 respectively.
Mm-hmm.
This right here, that will get a lot more people talking about Big Three. Like, people will go to every game, even though Kobe's not playing, because Kobe is now in the league. And they want to see how the other teams rank up to Kobe Bryant. So if he decides to do it, I think that's great for business.
I think that's a good idea.
Like, I think they should have tried to get like a lot of Hall of Famers to join in that could still play. Like recently retired people.
Recently retired, yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see, some of those guys go back out there and play. It would be something. I don't think it's going to happen, but could you imagine if like the likes of like a Brandon Roy went out there?
See, and I want to see Brandon Roy play basketball again, but it still comes back to whether or not his health will allow him to do so.
Hey, maybe that's where Roy Hibbert can go get his game on, as well as
I don't think it's that kind of league.
Maybe he can go out there and
I don't think it's that kind of league. I mean, Al Harrington is still balling.
Yes.
In this league.
maybe Roy Hibbert and Greg Oden can,
So I see what you're doing now. I'm not gonna let you do this.
You don't want me to try and do this?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna move on to my next final thought. I think I'm just gonna move to my next final thought. Live TV, ladies and gentlemen, live TV. But there's also big news in the realm of another big news for the G-men. Victor Cruz, one of their former star wide receivers, announced his retirement. And I don't know if anyone watched ESPN today, but he was all over from First Take all the way to Prime Time Sports Center. Looks like he's trying to get into broadcasting, which I think will be great.
That is good.
He is a Super Bowl champion with the Giants. Giants are still the only team to beat the Patriots in a Super Bowl with a perfect record.
Yeah.
With a minimum of 2 attempts.
Hopefully the Eagles don't get another opportunity.
But, he had a lot of injuries. I think this was definitely the right time for him. Will he try to come back?
Hopefully not.
Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. But, Giant fans remember him for, being dynamic on the field and even at home games right out there in Secaucus, New Jersey. After every single touchdown, he gives people that salsa dance.
Absolutely.
Born and raised in New Jersey. Patterson, New Jersey is where he's from.
Yep.
He's actually the same age as the professor. Fun fact. I did not know this until I read more about him.
I will say he also has a great book. I read his book a couple years ago. I was sad, even though it was the Spanish edition, to see it in the dollar store. Very sad, because I was like, this book is so good. I can't believe it's in Family Dollar right now, or Dollar Tree, whatever it was. But it was the Spanish version, so I was like, okay, I guess. But carry on. But before you do, I will say also that Greg Oden did enter the Big 3 Basketball League draft this year. He just wasn't selected.
I'm actually not surprised that Greg Oden did not get selected.
But also other notable players who didn't get selected, Eddie Curry and Chris Birdman Anderson.
You're making my point, sir. You're making my point right now.
I mean, what do you want here? Maybe, but you know what? Maybe they'll expand.
And what, call themselves the Big 4?
No. Still be Big 3, but I mean, expand teams. They'll just expand teams.
Oh man, they're gonna get those bottom-ringing teams that has all these players that the. that's like playground. You're getting selected for teams and you're like the last one getting picked.
But I think the way it's set up right now is that each team has to give up one of their players every year. So if that's the case, then they'll always have that. That player to build on, you know what I mean? So I guess that seems to work pretty good.
I don't know. If you have someone with an ego that loves to win and he's playing with 2 bums, that's not going to end well at all. And we know this as a fact.
I agree. But hey, we'll see what happens.
But my last final thought is something that happened earlier this week on Monday. I had the opportunity and the pleasure of doing an interview with a fellow podcaster, Angle Jones, right here in the DFW area. He has a series of podcasts called 12-Minute Convos, where he spends 12 minutes talking to interesting people because he enjoys studying people to try to understand what drives you, what motivates you, and what makes you into the person that you are today. It was a very great conversation, and his goal with this 12-minute convo is to talk to 1,000 people by the beginning of September. I think I was like number 309. So, he still has a long way to go, but I'm still rooting for him. I had actually had the chance to not only do the interview with him, but also had dinner with him and his wife and another one of their friends right afterwards as well too. Whining and dining out there in Addison at a place called Hot Dotties, a place that we had before, sir.
We did.
In fact, he actually had the ahi tuna.
Yeah.
I remember you wanted to try it. You had the black bean burger. I actually had the black bean burger at that time. But, just hearing about his, motivations and the things that drive him, and hearing how people telling him that he can't accomplish 1,000 interviews by his deadline, and the gleam in his eye to try to push that in, like, it was so motivational. And there was so much more that happened in there too that, of course, I want to try to take away for not just this podcast, but all the other podcasts and other projects that we're trying to do in the future as well too. So that was just such a great time, and I'm looking forward to him doing it again next year. And I'm gonna try to get everyone within Business Amongst Friends to do these interviews with him, because why not? It's great to find out about newer personalities and share them with you, the people.
Now, is he only doing face-to-face, or is he doing like other interviews?
So his goal this time is to be the first West Indian Trinidad and Tobagoan to travel 48 states. Texas was state 44. So and he and his wife has been driving this whole time.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So this is, his pilgrimage is so inspiring because they're literally just driving. And I believe he said that they drove like nonstop. I think they only had like one stop heading to Texas.
Where'd they come from?
Before that, they came up from, I believe it was North Dakota.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So it was
That's cool though.
It was a thing.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely cool. How did you hear about him?
We are connected on LinkedIn, actually.
Sweet.
And in fact, I had the opportunity to do this last year, but I ended up being somewhere around that time, a place where a queen is there.
I don't think anybody knows. There's so many queens. Queen Latifah.
No, you know exactly who I'm talking about too. A place where a man who won a certain title 16 times. That's wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, limousine riding, son of a gun.
I don't know. That could be anywhere. I mean, I don't know where that is.
Anywho, but I had a chance to do it last year, and of course, I didn't have the opportunity to actually do anything. But when I had the opportunity to do it again this year, I definitely took advantage of it, and it was great. I actually had a chance to meet some other pretty interesting people that was both waiting and just finished an interview as well too. Like just learning more about how people operate. And I think this goes in line with like what you enjoyed doing at one time. Studying people and understanding like what is it that allows them to tick.
Absolutely.
Was just something interesting for me, as an analyst to see. Because I think of things as data, I don't necessarily think of the human element, but he's looking at it as the human element. So it was pretty fun. But I will say I made him laugh so much.
I saw it was great. I thought it was great. I was like, what is this? I and of course my take, I'm looking here, I'm like, hey, what is this? He's doing an interview? Like, what's going on here? Let me turn this on. Quick interview, 10 to 12 minutes.
10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's actually not bad. So, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun. If, for those that want to watch it, it is available on YouTube. Just type in Angle Jones, and my episode is 309.
309, yeah, it was good. I give it credit.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we are at Endgame. Tonight's outro track is from A1 and Phonics. The title of the track is The Rain, and we played A1 and Phonics before. Their music is really good, but this is from their newest album, The Actual Proof, available on bandcamp.com. Just search for A1 and Phonics. We also put the link to their Bandcamp page in the description of this YouTube video, so make sure you check them out. Support the artists of the outros as well as the intro, because as always, big shout outs to Coop Dog for being our intro track, because that beat is still bumping.
One day we got to try to get him on the show if we can. That would be great.
I think it'd be great to put him on the show. I was actually speaking with Engel Jones the other day too, and I mentioned how we like to use artists for the outro track, and I mentioned how we had Ashley I on, and how that was just such an experience to see, you know, how someone across the pond views American sports, as well as just understanding like what influenced him as well too. And I think it would be great to try to get him back onto the show as well.
Absolutely. I think that's something that we should definitely work on, I guess, you know, because there are so many different songs that we played. I mean, even somebody like Substantial, I think it'd be great if the people could hear the likes of Substantial mixing sports with music. I think
even Mega Ran would be great to put onto the show, because he has such great ties with music and video games and, you know, wrestling as well too.
Yeah, like, we'd have the double book him.
That's that. Hey,
yeah.
I mean, if it can happen, it can happen. I know he's doing a tour right now, and he is supposed to be in Texas, but he's not coming to Dallas, which is disappointing.
It is.
But, you know, I told him, like, hey, next time, let me know, man. I'll definitely catch a show. I think he's going to be in Austin. Maybe, you know, I might do a weekend trip to Austin. Who knows?
There you go.
Because, you know, Austin's like country time away and not city time away.
Absolutely. Was that 3 to 4 hours?
Yes.
It's not too bad. For Mega Ran, it's not too bad.
I mean, and I think it'd be fun. Like, and the reason why we do this for everyone is to expand your mindset when it comes to music. You know, we don't want you to just be limited to just what you hear on the mainstream. And there's a lot of underground artists who are just as good, if not better, than a lot of these mainstream artists. And sometimes you just got to give them a shot. No, that's I've been listening to underground artists since my freshman year of high school.
I think it's a good way. It's a good look.
Mm-hmm. But like we said before, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. As always, you could catch us right here on YouTube. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and also join the notification squad by hitting the bell icon on the YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/debate amongst friends, facebook.com/group/debate amongst friends to join the group. You can also join us on Twitter. You can follow us at Debate Amongst Fra, the doc at TL Double, and myself at Ken86. You can also follow us on Instagram at Debate Amongst Friends. And you can listen to us off-cast on SoundCloud, Google Play Music, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and any and all podcast application on your iOS and Android devices. But once again, I am the Professor John Gotti.
And this is Dr. Wednesday Night, the podcast beast.
He is a beast, ladies and gentlemen. He is a beast. But I do, and as always, good night, mwah, and goodbye. Bang!
Taste the ocean.
You find any evidence to support that claim?
We were thinking more along the lines of actual proof.
That we don't have yet. Everybody said the game is loose. Shit was too sweet, boy, but it was loose. Most fighters that be makers who can't be loose. Ain't money fights, action. Everybody said the game is loose. Shit is too sweet, we ain't gonna reduce. Most fighters that be makers who can't be loose. Ain't money fights, action. This is that Sade diamond light, spitting gangsta shit on designer mics. Not many niggas can rhyme alike. I spaz on contemporary jazz, with champagne in my glass, L to the face, it's so in the past. My arrogance is a compliment, sign of respect. I acknowledge my enemies before I catch wreck. Mask off, fuck it, live with no regrets. Means an easy kill when the machete's on your neck. Better protect your hustle, I'm coming for your checks. I'm Evo, every 4 bars like a kilo. The elephant to your ego, I play the game cerebral. Steph Curry for free throw. Everybody said the game is loose. Shit is too sweet, we ain't gonna reduce. Most fighters that be makers who can't be loose. Ain't money fights, action. Everybody said the game is loose. Shit is too sweet, we ain't gonna reduce. Most fighters that be makers who can't be loose. Ain't money fights, action. Stepping in my Stan Smiths, writing rhymes in my hand style, so they can't read what they can't spit. I'm King Midas with lyrical gifts and spitting kryptonite, so even Superman could get clipped if I get the mic. Today couldn't be more bright. My glasses are transitions, Google Maps on missions, killers while I'm fishing, on tracks and flipping. Like elliptical gymnast, I ice skate. I burn rappers to their soul cause they lightweight. My tight face is bold and my veins bleed gold. My tears are nitrate, sodium chloride, a nuclear reactor. I'm ready to blow. It's fallout for rappers. Do it all in dapper, but keep it on your face, cause it's hard to master. The finest that's the grace, lyrically a beast, complete, absorb knowledge. Either you gon' want this war or pay homage.